Now, Norwegian Air has confirmed to RTE News that the airline's flights to and from Cork and Shannon to the USA will continue to be rerouted via Dublin for the remainder of the summer season. Eoghan Corry, editor of TravelExtra.ie, joins us in studio now.
Good afternoon.
What's going on?
It's been well flagged because it was removed from the booking system as soon as the Boeing 737 MAX was grounded. Listeners will remember after the second air crash, the aviation authorities around the world in sequence decided that the Boeing 737 MAX, a new aircraft type that's been around for just about a year, had to go through a series of safety checks to make sure that the software system wasn't causing the two crashes that had taken place. Norwegian were particularly vulnerable to this because they have 18 of the aircraft already in service. They were relying on those for their Irish services. They obviously had to play a waiting game. It's not Norwegian's fault. They had to play a waiting game to see if these would be allowed return to the air. But almost immediately they were contacting customers in Cork and Shannon, and the initial advice was we will bring you through Dublin. They're going to use a leased-in A330-300 out of Dublin, and also a Boeing 737-800 for the Dublin to Providence route.
Could they not have used those aircraft from Cork and Shannon?
Because were scrambling, as anybody who had Boeing 737 MAXs, to find replacements, because there are other airports to be served in their network, and as you might imagine, the cost of effectively renting in another aircraft to replace a grounded aircraft shot up as soon as all those Boeing 737 MAXs were grounded.
Because people in Cork and Shannon will be concerned that Norwegian's not coming back.
There are other issues with Norwegian. The share price is 30 cent. Last year it was €1.30. It's been leaking money. Its traffic for the first 3 months was down by 2%. There's two narratives on that. One of them is that it's in deep financial trouble. The other narrative is that it's a takeover target, and Willie Walsh has been expressing interest in bidding for Norwegian. So its market share is so large, I would be surprised if it's not taken over. Whether it can return to Cork and Shannon and offer the level of service that it had before will depend on how other airlines react and how the airports themselves. Shannon has been particularly hit. Its numbers were down by 5% in the first 3 months of the year.
We've a couple of statements on this. Cork Airport says it's aware of the positive impact that a Cork to USA route has had on the region through inbound tourism. Traffic at Cork Airport is growing at 11% and is on course to serve 2.6 million passengers this year, as the fastest growing airport in the state, they say. And they say they're continuing to work with Norwegian and other airline passengers on securing additional transatlantic routes in the future. The Department of Transport says that it understands that the issue arises due to the grounding of the Boeing 737, as you say, Eoghan, but there will be concerns about that traffic returning to those regional airports.
It's really, really important. It's Cork's only transatlantic route, and in many ways the success or failure of this will depend on other customers looking at it. The way the Norwegian have handled it is they left us without a statement for a long, long time when it was clear that these routes would not be taking place because they were taken off the internet. And the initial advice to passengers was they would bus them to Dublin. But very clear, and this is important, passengers who had already booked and are now rerouted through Dublin have to make their own way there and bill Norwegian for the expense.
That's right. I see that in their statement today. Customers are advised to arrange bus or rail travel to Dublin and can claim for their expenses with proof of receipt.
It's a nightmare for Norwegian because these things are very costly. 2 of them are grounded in Dublin Airport. They've had to lease in aircraft at inflated rates. So in terms of the discomfort for the passengers, I can assure you that the discomfort felt by the airline is quite significant.
Eoghan Corry, thank you very much for joining us on the News at 1 today.